Hey everyone, this is Guy Magno. Welcome back to Chit-Chat, a Switchboard podcast. We are so thankful that you're here. Continue to listen to the stories and meet the people that make our community really, really special. I had a really fun conversation with Julie Lunning, who is the president of our local Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce here in St. Cloud is a really special organization, north of 150 years old. A 3-star chamber, it's called. 5-star chamber. What you can't see is that Julie's just out of frame. A good correction, thank you. A 5-star chamber, and that's really, really cool. We have a neat thing here in our community with our chamber, and Julie talked about downtown and what makes our community great, and just some of the really fun and special things that historically have made our downtown special, what currently make our downtown special, and what we hope keeps happening and growing and developing here in our community and in our downtown. So excited for you to hear this. And again, we just want to say thanks. Thanks for listening. Our commitment is that we're going to release one of these every week for an entire week. Apparently, I just said we're going to release one of these every week for a week or something like that. What I actually meant to say, correction, we are going to release a podcast once a week for an entire year. So thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. Julie, thank you so much for coming and joining us on the Chit-Chat podcast. I really appreciate you being here.
Guy, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get going, we have some black coffee here, and you're a dark roast gal.
That I am.
And so thanks for coming.
Darker the better.
Good. Here you go. Ooh, it's good and hot.
Oh, I was looking forward to this all day.
Good.
My happy place with you here.
Wonderful.
Delicious coffee. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Julie, would you just maybe for our audience that doesn't know you, maybe just like tell us who you are, what do you do? I'd love to hear a little bit about the chamber.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So my name is Julie Lunning. I'm the president of the St. Cloud Area Chamber of Commerce, and actually honored to be the president of the St. Cloud Area Chamber. I'm still fairly new in my role, coming up on about 3-ish years now, but I've been with the chamber a long time. I've worked at the organization for, oh my goodness. You know what? I think I had an anniversary last week. I think it's been 28 years.
Wow.
So I served in a capacity of tourism for many, many years in this region. And prior to that, I moved here from Miami, Florida, and never left.
All right. And were you working in Miami for the chamber as well?
No, I was actually in the tourism industry.
Oh, okay,
so prior to becoming chamber president, I've been, working in the tourism industry all around the country for about 35, 36 years.
Yeah. So you worked in tourism in both St. Cloud and in Miami.
Yep, and in Miami and a lot of places in between.
These are unique and different challenges that you have working in tourism. What's it like to try to advertise Miami, Florida, and St. Cloud? I mean, this is a pretty diverse skill set there.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
And I think what I loved about Miami is just it was a big city and it was vibrant and everybody knows Miami, right? Yep. So you're just selling the great experiences that are there. It was a lovely place to live and to kind of start my younger years, and I was a newlywed still, my husband and I. It was just a great, vibrant place for young people. And to be able to sell that story was really exciting. And then coming to St. Cloud. Now, I should preface by saying I'm originally from the Midwest. I grew up in Milwaukee. So I've always lived in large cities. This is probably the smallest size city that I've lived in. But I've lived all over the country working in the tourism industry, always in larger markets. And it was really awesome to be able to come to this area, kind of have it feel like home. It's a lot like Wisconsin. But to have that smaller town feel, the pace was a little slower than what I was used to, which was nice. But still, we were close to the Twin Cities. All the big amenities were there, but still plenty of amenities here.
Yeah.
But still, you could escape and go up to the North Woods or up to the woods or to the North Shore, or down to Bluff Country. You know, there's just so much diversity in the topography of Minnesota and the things to do. But what I really liked about St. Cloud is that we were starting to see an evolving change in its diversity. So I moved here from an area where I was a minority living in Miami, probably spoke more Spanish than we did English.
Right.
And then coming here, everybody looked like me, but we're starting to see that change. I really needed that because, again, living in a big city, I was never always just the majority being this, blonde-haired Caucasian lady. I've always come from really mixed, diverse backgrounds. So to see that happening here and to where we are today, I think it's the best thing that could have happened to the St. Cloud area.
Cool. Well, wonderful. In your role now, 3 years as the chamber president, what have you learned? Maybe is there something that surprised you or caught you off guard in your role or learning about the business community?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I kind of had it all figured out, although I didn't work the chamber day to day like I do now. I still saw things from the periphery and thought I really got it, right? It's a 155-year-old chamber of commerce. We currently have over 900 businesses that are members. There's a tremendous amount of engagement, but I didn't really understand the level of engagement until I was fully immersed in it. I had served in a volunteer capacity before, but able to see this bigger picture of, we're a chamber that's run by its members.
Yeah.
Our members chart the direction of where we're going and what we're going to do best for the business community. It's not me dictating it. It's not the board dictating it. It's you as a chamber member having the opportunity to be involved in dictating that. But the amount of engagement and the people that are involved that give up their time when they're running their own businesses or working for an employer to dedicate to the chamber for the greater good of this community absolutely blows me away every day. At any given time, we have over 300 people that are volunteering in different capacities. You're with the FLC, the fund group, and all the other committees that you've served on and been a part of, and dedicate your time and, shooting the cover of Business Central magazine. Just all these different capacities in which you're engaged and your staff is engaged. Where else do you see that?
Yeah, I think it's super, super, super exciting.
Yeah, every single person gets to make a difference here.
Yeah.
And we as the chamber just get to make sure that all that gets carried out.
Like kind of stewards of sorts.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
But we couldn't do it without our business community being engaged. There's a lot of chambers that don't run this way.
Yeah.
It's usually a staff that just kind of run the things. We're here, our community and our business owners run the things.
I mean, I'm often blown away by how much there is that happens in our chamber, and obviously, it takes a lot of people to do that, and so lots of neat volunteers who make that happen. But it feels like almost every day there is something that you could go and do that's through the chamber, related to the chamber, and so many I've been actively involved now for maybe 3 years in the chamber, and I have wonderful, deep, wonderful friends from the chamber who I am eager to see and to run into around town and to do work with and do work for, and it's just a treat. It's an absolute treat to have the chamber kind of be the hub of so much of my St. Cloud relationship thing too. So,
and to have people that you can be around that you have a lot of commonalities with. Smaller businesses than yours and larger businesses than yours.
Yeah.
My husband and I have always been business owners too, and you put your blood, sweat, tears into everything.
Yeah.
You take the risks. There's the money. You're trying to raise a family. You want to make sure you don't lose out because you don't want to lose your home, and you have a staff now that's like your secondary family that you feel you need to take care of and want to take care of. There's just, I think the average person, unless you've owned a business, really has no idea how much you carry with you when you're a business owner.
Yeah.
And to be able to have that commonality with other individuals where when the good things are happening, you have an opportunity to talk about it. When you have questions, you have an opportunity to talk about it. When you need a mentor that you can confide in, or when the times aren't great, you have someone that you can talk to about it. That's going to be there for you no matter what to help you through.
Yeah.
Because we all want to see each other succeed and do well and be able to give back to our community, not only in the services that we provide, but in the jobs that we provide as well.
That's great. So, I'm a fairly active chamber member.
Yes, you are.
Almost every Friday and lots of other days. I feel like I have a good, maybe similar to kind of where you were before you took this specific job, but I feel like I have a decent view of kind of what happens on a kind of a member level, know. But I so often I learn about or I hear about these things that the chamber does that we just don't see every day, some of the advocacy stuff at the Capitol, or there are just so many other things. What are some of your favorite things that maybe the average member doesn't actually see because it's not it's not weekly member meetings and stuff, but it's some of these other things that the chamber's kind of responsible for that you enjoy the most about your position?
Oh gosh, there are so many little things behind the scenes. We have an incredible team over at the chamber, just an incredible group of really smart individuals that really know how to take what our committees are looking for and what they want to accomplish and what they want to do and making it come to fruition. But oh boy, there's so much. It's just like, okay, the advocacy. Maybe because that's what I'm the closest to.
Sure.
I am not a politician. Politics really isn't my thing. I don't like going and lobbying on behalf of things. I could never be a lobbyist. I don't know if I could ever be a legislator or in a capacity like that. But watching these people and what they do for our community and how they selflessly give of themselves, to be a part of that is really incredible. But basically, it's not taking sides, but it's working with all our individual business owners and what's affecting you as a business to be able to be successful. What do you need? Or what is the state doing to you or the federal government doing to you? Or gosh, they have no idea what a burden this can be, or we need this for help. To be able to take all those feelings and those opinions collaboratively and bringing it forward to our mayors and city councils and our legislators and Congress. Being able to bring that voice forward, because I get to see those people all the time.
Yeah.
Where you don't always get that access. As a chamber, we want to get you that access as much as possible when those folks are here and at home and through different events that we have. But really, when it comes down to it, when they're voting on issues or different bills are coming forward, we're the ones that'll step up and say, XYZ company is saying the complete opposite, or this isn't going to help, or this becomes a burden, or this is just another tax that is going to make things more difficult at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's a really big one. But we do such cool things behind the scenes too. Being able to work with our committees, like on the scholarship programs for students, the fundraisers that we do, whether it be for a food shelf, giving back to our community. One of the things our chamber has done a really extraordinary job at is creating its own community. But I don't want to forget about the community and how we all should just take care of each other. It's more than just us as business owners.
Yeah.
It's those of us as residents, employees. What can we do better to make sure that everything that we have here is better for everyone?
Yeah. I think this past Friday was this past chamber connection on Friday was kind of a fun example of that. It was the 5 recipients of the scholarship.
Yes.
There, and these students there, I think there were 5 graduated seniors now who were showing up in part to say thanks for the scholarship that was made possible by all of the people at all the members of chamber, and just the fact that when there's been need in our community, in our little kind of business community there, just the way that everyone steps up for each other is, I think, something that has been really, really exciting and encouraging to see and to kind of witness in our community. It's been really, really fun.
But I love my new job.
Good.
It's fun in a whole different way. I came from the tourism world. What's more fun than that? Economic development through tourism, creating experiences and memories and all these things. When I was making that decision to move to the chamber side, I thought, oh my God, how do I give that up? Everything I do every day fills my bucket in the tourism industry. And all those years I spent working in it, it went like that because I loved it so much. To be able to do it in a completely different capacity now, being able to work with business, represent business, and do better things for our community in even bigger capacity with so many individuals that care, my bucket is overflowing every day.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. I can imagine working in tourism is really, really fun.
It is super fun.
You're talking about cool restaurants and events and concerts and all of the fun little unique things that make communities kind of like sparkle and twinkle.
Yes.
And this maybe feels a little, maybe this isn't a great analogy, but it's a little more, this is kind of a business about kind of the backbone of a community and that kind of stability. That's really, really fun, really exciting.
I think what bothers me the most is the people that live here and be like, oh, there's nothing to do here. We're on what goes on in our own backyard,
Yeah.
I think we're most blind to.
For sure.
And this area has so much to offer
Yeah.
in regards to attractions and things to do and places to go eat. And it's really an extraordinary community. Our arts and music scene, it's incredible.
Yeah, for a town our size, it is really, really special. All
Yeah.
of the incredible things that we have.
And a super cool downtown.
Yeah.
Well, all of the downtowns. You know, Sauk Rapids has a really cool downtown. Waite Park, well, they have a really cool retail district.
There you go.
Sartell has really neat things. I mean, just all these communities. And watching St. Joe totally come into their
Yeah.
own, it's just thrilling to
Yeah.
be able to watch. And not only for the people who live there, but the people that are coming to visit now.
Yeah. I absolutely love going to St. Joe, and
Me too. It's a
all
cool
the-
vibe.
It is really, really fun. We had Shannon on. You know,
Oh, yes.
Shannon has been, she's played a big role in helping develop that. And my buddy Brian, he runs a really cool barbershop there. Anyway,
Yeah.
St. Joe's a neat little town. Speaking of downtowns, like what's exciting to you right now about what's happening in our downtown? It feels like over the course of the last maybe year or two, it feels like there's like, I don't know, until very recently, this is just peripheral, like just being on the outside of downtown, looking in and spending as much time as I can downtown. But it feels like there's a swell kind of
Yes.
right now for our downtown. What kind of excites you from a business perspective and from your seat? What excites you about what's happening in our downtown right now?
Definitely. I think all the organizations that now have rallied together and said downtown is going to be our priority. It hasn't been the priority for a really long time. So there was always the Downtown Council. It was the association that represented downtown and downtown business. I've been involved with the Downtown Council since the day I moved here, so it's been almost 28 years. I was the board chair twice. I've served on every committee. When I had to retire off the board, they just made me ex officio, so I could just hang on. Just watching all the ups and downs of downtown over the years. We were making progress, things were going great, big things were happening, and then something would happen and we'd kind of be like, and then it would happen again. We'd have this resurgence and this great energy, and then something would happen again, and we never quite hit it. We didn't really hit our stride like we see in a lot of other downtowns across the Midwest and in Minnesota. We saw Fargo doing it, and Stillwater and Mankato and these
Claire.
others. Claire, yes. They hit their stride and it hit.
Yeah.
And we just never really got there with downtown St. Cloud. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Some things were happening financially with the organization, with financial support. The board of directors, who was extraordinary, after their last director left, sat back and said, oh my gosh, we don't have the money to hire somebody new. We haven't raised, or they were a membership organization, hadn't collected membership in 2 years just because of COVID and coming out of COVID. And it was like, what are we going to do next other than just kind of go away?
Right.
But we were at a critical point downtown where we couldn't have it go away.
Yeah.
It needed support now more than ever.
Yeah.
And that's when I was kind of coming into the chamber and started having discussions with business owners downtown. It was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Who's going to take this thing over? We need someone to champion downtown. And if it's not going to be the chamber, who is it going to be? So we worked with the existing board of directors, decided to dissolve the Downtown Council and create the new Downtown Alliance under the chamber's umbrella.
Yeah.
If a 155-year-old organization can't make this work and make it sustainable, I don't know who is.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are going to help protect that group.
Yeah.
So during the good times, we can keep raising them up, and during the bad times, we're going to be there to help them out.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any more of this. It's going to be upward trajectory, and we will make sure of seeing that happens. So, in the last 18 months, we've seen, I think we're close to 28 new businesses open downtown.
It's really, really, really exciting.
It is. And that we still have vacancies, and we still have issues, and we still have things that we need to work through.
Yeah.
But now we've got, the mayor who has said downtown's my number one priority, GSDC number one priority, chamber number one priority. There's a lot of the organizations that should have been there all along now saying we're here and we're going to make big things happen, and then the mayor starts his downtown task force. So we not only have the Downtown Alliance and their board and their working committees, but we've got the chamber and the chamber board and the mayor's task force and now working on a business improvement district. It's like all the stars are aligning finally.
Yeah.
And we're going to get there. And it's not just these little projects anymore, the low-hanging fruit. Now we're going after the big stuff. And this is the stuff that people are really going to see. So I'm excited about the momentum and good things to come. And as long as we have dedicated business owners and people that see the potential, just like you in the aviary building, can I say that?
Yeah.
I know it's on. Okay.
It's live. Yeah.
Great things are going to happen. Great things are going to happen.
So you had said, over the years, it would there was like a surge, and then something would happen, and then we'd surge, and then something would happen. Maybe I mean, you could give specifics if you want, but like other than COVID, like what are the kinds of things that happen in a downtown, could happen in St. Cloud, that kind of cause the momentum to shift in the wrong direction?
Sure.
And then how do we maybe avoid those things? Like historically, what have been some of those downturn moments? And then what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen as as we're swelling right now?
Sure. Sometimes it just takes the little negative things that come out in the media. Maybe it was a crime that happened downtown. A lot of people think, okay, crime-ridden downtown. Our downtown isn't. It's an incredibly safe place. I would go out there any time of night and hang out and feel safe. We have a lot of clients, and when I was working in tourism, I mean, we had conventions downtown all the time, thousands of people that we would take out late at night because they wanted to relive their younger days of the red carpet and hang out and do all these things. I mean, it's an extraordinary place to be all time of day and night. For some reason, there is a bit of a thought process that maybe it's not a safe place. If we see people that are out on the streets that maybe don't look like us, or maybe one little thing happens and the media grabs it, and all of a sudden we think, okay, we can't go there because something bad is going to happen. So you have those things happen, and bouncing back from those, as small as they are, they're huge. Just as things start to spread. You have Herberger's move out. A major anchor downtown. You have more people becoming remote workers, and we saw that trend even happening before COVID. These little things start to eat away, and how are we going to change those? Now we don't have employees back from Capital One, and eventually we're going to be having the judicial whole campus of Stearns County move out. What does that change? How does that change our whole vibe and feel, and the people, the number of people downtown, and what are we going to do next?
And I mean, I can totally foresee that you would have information that you can't necessarily share, but what are the Herberger's building, for example, like what would you hope? What's the best use of that? Like what could, as a business community, as in a people, like what kind of thing could we get behind and push on that would be really special for our downtown?
Boy, I've seen so many cool plans already that it takes the right investors to be able to come together to make the investment to make things in that building. But I've seen lower level hockey rink with what is it called? With the little granite thing that you throw. My God, help me. More coffee. Curling. Thank you.
On the ice.
I want to keep saying hockey. A curling club was a project.
Like in Chaska.
Yes, that came forward with the restaurants where you can watch.
It's really fun.
Down in Chaska, you can drink and eat and watch curling and participate. That was a project idea. Open air markets, different restaurant spaces all under one roof. It could just become office space. At one time we were hopeful that maybe Centricare's, school would have been there. It really lends itself to a different type of campus school environment. There's a lot of ideas floating around, a lot of people that have been looking at the building, but it's a tremendous amount of real estate. And
how many square feet is it?
Oh gosh, I can't even say offhand.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. But we have a lot of groups that have been looking at it, but just portions of the building and not the entire, which I think is going to be what happens. There's some cool things that are moving along right now that I would love to see happen. And I think within the next year, we'll see some really good movement on that building.
Well, that's exciting. It sat empty or underused for such a long time. It'd be so exciting to have something really fun and vibrant.
Yep.
I mean, it's really like in the heart of our downtown. So
Yep.
it'd be really, really neat.
And we're not the only downtown that is seeing this type of major
For
tenant
sure.
move out, but we are really seeing some extraordinary redevelopment projects all over the Midwest that are incredibly creative. There's no reason that we can't either, and that we can't work with a lot of those developers to come here and do a similar type of project. I would really anticipate that something like that would happen.
Cool. I mean, I hope it's curling.
Yeah, the curling, the word I couldn't think of.
The curling one. Oh, that would be fun. Oh, I mean, anything coming there would
Okay,
be.
isn't it weird that we don't have a larger, I mean, we have an incredibly dedicated local curling club now that's really trying to grow, but how that wasn't like a thing here?
It feels.
I don't
mean,
know.
it feels Minnesotan for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially in a location like this, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
We're a
And-
little late to the game.
If anyone has never seen that space in Chaska, it is. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
And like the bars and restaurants and stuff that like look out over it, and league night, and it's one of those things where I think like if you're an athlete, you can really do good
Yeah.
at curling. And if you're
Absolutely.
not an athlete, you can really have fun.
Yep.
Which I think that's a fun little kind of blend.
Right. So curlers unite.
That's right.
Let's keep uniting and building, and they're really building this local club. I mean,
Hmm.
they're getting larger and larger, and they have great ideas too. It's
Yeah.
just getting the right people together that can make some bigger things happen.
Cool. Well, that's really, really fun. How do you think our downtown will be different 5 years from now?
We don't have the number of employees that we used to.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of the companies that have gone remote downtown, we don't see the traffic that we used to. Lunchtime, my gosh, you could barely get in anywhere.
Yeah.
And happy hours were the thing. Everybody would go out, grab a drink after work. That's
Yeah.
where we would socialize. That's where we would do all of our things. I remember years ago when we used to do like the downtown hoedown, we, in one of the parking lots, would put out picnic tables, and all the employees would come down, and we'd have a big barbecue cookout just to bring people together. We don't have that type of thing anymore. So it's what are people going to come downtown for now?
Yeah.
Because there aren't as many. I mean, we lost thousands of employees downtown.
Yeah.
So now what do? It's coming down for that entertainment, but what are we going to do to entice people down during the lunch hour? What are we going to do to entice people to come down when they're on the west side?
Yeah.
To come down and, all right, I'm going to head out to Whitehorse or sit on the patio at the veranda and have a beverage and meet my friends.
Yeah.
I think the night scene is still really good. There's a lot of arts and entertainment and music all the time that draws a lot of people. But outside of those evening hours, how are we going to get people back moving around?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a fan. I mean, I've been a fan of downtown ever since. I was thinking about this just earlier today. I was 16. I grew up in Sartell, and my world was in Sartell. All of my after school activities, and my job was even in Sartell. You're kind of stuck where you live, and when you're a kid and you're just on your bike, you're kind of stuck there. And as soon as I got my driver's license, I mean, as often as I could get to downtown, I was down there. I loved the Meeting Grounds, which is a fantastic little coffee shop.
Wasn't it?
And
And so was Oblivion and
yeah.
everything that was there in between.
yeah,
But Meeting Grounds was a great place for all of us to go.
yeah. And the Java joint, I loved. I think the vast majority of the bands that I saw at the Java joint, I don't think I enjoyed the music per se. It was a heavier scene than I was kind of into, but it was so fun. I was at a fun coffee shop that had this bizarre live stage, and I don't know, it's just being downtown, and the energy was really, really fun. So I'm excited to see what comes in the next handful of years in our really, really cool downtown. And I think it'll be interesting, whoever our next mayor is.
Yes,
What's their vision for downtown? And Mayor Kleiss is, he's been so verbal about his downtown initiatives, and it'll just be interesting to see how does someone kind of pick up that mantle, and how do they change it and make it their own, and hopefully push our downtown forward.
Yep, and that's one thing that we'll make sure of.
Yeah.
With the new mayor, working with them to make sure that this still remains a priority and that the city keeps its momentum up.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see it kind of go off to the wayside. Because there was a long time, unfortunately, the city of St. Cloud didn't really pay much attention. Everybody kind of left it up to the downtown council, but it's more than just that association.
Yeah.
It's everybody coming together, these larger groups that can actually make some change on the big things. We need that commitment to continue and grow. And we will definitely work to ensure that the next mayor is fully engaged.
Yeah. And I think something like a downtown revitalization, I think depending on your seat, it can either look like, oh, that's a job for the government. You know, like the government is supposed to come in and take care of that. And I think from a different seat, it could say like, no, I mean, like, it's going to be business owners that is going to buy those buildings and like invest money. And so like, this is a job that's kind of like meant for the private sector, the business sector. And I think that the best ones, it's this really sweet kind of symbiotic relationship between the businesses showing up in a unique kind of way, alongside of a really motivated government, organization to help push that. And so, I hope to watch just lots of really, really great partnerships between our local government and all the business owners showing up to be a part of that.
And see some of those larger real estate properties. Phil is going to be a key. And, it's that whole beautification, the whole aesthetic, the whole how it feels when you're downtown. We still have some things that we need to work on. We try to make it pretty and comfortable, but there's a lot more that we could still do to make it really feel like this place where you really want to sit and chill and enjoy. And, we've got that River's Edge Convention Center right down the street. Tens of thousands of people are here every single month. Majority of them don't live here.
Yeah.
And every time they walk out the doors of that building, it should feel like the red carpet is there.
Yeah.
Rolled out.
The red carpet is there.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. Literally, figuratively, but that it's really rolled out where they can go out and enjoy. And, it's funny how you hear, we love downtown, but, a lot of people who live here
for sure
don't, or they haven't been there in a really long time because they have these preconceived notions. We bring in these meetings and conventions. People that come are like, oh my God, this downtown is the best. Or we are so excited when our conference is held in St. Cloud because there's so much to do. When you go to Rochester to their convention center, okay, you're going through like a maze of like underground and above ground, to get anywhere fun. When you're in Duluth, their convention center isn't right on Canal Park. It takes a bit to get there. We're here, all you got to do is spill out the door. And there's tons for you to be able to do and experience. And it's really unique, something that a lot of other cities can't offer.
Yeah.
But it should look beautiful and pristine, like you're having somebody over to your house every single day.
Yeah. I forget how many years it's been, just a few, but all of the lights, the kind of the
festoon.
Yeah. I think it's so fun, and it gives our nice little downtown a fun little shine at night. It's a sweet little feature. So,
and that was all private business owners that decided, let's do this. And making it work with the city. Remember when we hosted Hockey Day Minnesota back in 2018. That was the first time that we did the festoon lights. We had our hockey village, adjacent from the hockey rink, and that's when Doug Bozier came in and said, we're going to make this really cool village, and we're going to hang these festoon lights. And everybody was like, what's a festoon light? I guess they were gaining popularity then. And then when the event was done, he's like, I got all these festoon lights. What am I going to do with them? Well, I'll talk with the city and see if we can hang them downtown. It was a great idea. Well, then come to find out, they're not commercial grade. You need something different that's going to last. And he's like, but these look really cool. I'm going to get other business owners together, and we are going to invest our money and get what we need for downtown, and we're going to create this new look. And it's phenomenal when you're down there at night.
Agreed.
And what other things can we do like that? I mean, there's so many creative things that we can try and do. And
do you enjoy? I mean, I'm guessing the answer is yes because of your current job, but even just your job in tourism for so long. Do you enjoy going into other communities and seeing the fun things that the way they've tackled problems and issues, and kind of dreaming about like, ooh, how could we take the good versions of that and fold it into what we're doing here?
Absolutely. Working in the tourism industry and then now what I'm doing now, I think I do that to a fault. Talk to my kids anytime we go on vacation or when we were going on college visits or all that. I'm like picking out everything, making notes and taking pictures. And they're like, God, Mom, can we just enjoy ourselves instead of you being like, oh, we should have that in St. Cloud, or I wonder who that developer is, or what project is that? And, or that's really awful. They got to work on that.
Yeah.
So my kids see things through a different lens too
For
now,
sure.
just because it's the way I've always been.
Yeah. I was a wedding photographer for a long time. And so, it kind of makes you, when you spend a decade as a wedding photographer, you kind of become an expert on like what works and what doesn't work. And
Right.
everyone needs to kind of like work it out for themselves. But, I've seen a number of the things before and like, well, it's not going to work. And, the thing that you're familiar with, you kind of, you get strong opinions about. So
Yeah.
I totally get how that could happen. Julie, I mean, I think our downtown is fun. You think our downtown is fun. When you're downtown, what are some of your favorite things to do? What are some of your favorite activities?
Okay. So, we have a music scene that is like nothing else I've ever seen, unless maybe you're sitting in downtown Minneapolis.
Sure.
We have music downtown consistently.
Yeah.
Some of the best bands that you can go out and see. I'm a huge, nothing against art. I'm not a big art person.
Okay.
But we have really great art opportunities for that, if that's what people like.
Yeah.
I like music. So I will go and I will see every band that I absolutely can on a night where I don't have kids, where my husband and I can go out and
Yeah.
enjoy, or that I can take out friends or meet friends or get people back introduced to downtown. I think the music scene is really unbelievable. To think that we have 3 theaters downtown,
Yeah.
Paramount Theater, Pioneer Place, and now what we've seen with Black Box turning into the Gnarly Bard.
Yeah.
That space is amazing.
I haven't been in it yet since the transition happened.
That we can see really cool theater and music.
Yeah.
I mean, music that's just like we would go down to the cities to go see.
Yeah.
I think the history in our downtown is amazing. And I think sometimes you don't notice it because maybe it's just too overwhelming because all of our buildings are so different and so historic. But if you really take the time to just like stop and stare at a building and like look at all the intricacies and all the special little pieces that every one of them has, you don't see that in a lot of downtowns anymore. I love Minneapolis because I will go to Minneapolis just to walk around, to stop and like stare at a building and be like,
Take in the buzz.
oh my gosh. We're here, we zip up and down St. Germain and just don't always think about, but when your Thielen building, when you stand in front of that and really truly look at it, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And the building next to it, and the building next to that, and maybe not the building next to that, but the building next to that. It's beautiful, the history that's been preserved in our downtown. I think it's really special. We have the Mississippi River right here. How many times do we forget
All the time.
that we have one of the most majestic rivers in the world
Yeah.
right here,
Yeah.
right here in our downtown? And granted, we don't always look at it,
Yeah.
but to remember that it's there. And, our downtown really spreads out more than just St. Germain. What we've got going on the east side is truly special. Lake George is an extraordinary gem. When you tie all that together, it's awesome.
Yeah.
We have really cool retailers downtown and businesses that are just being creative and trying new things and doing different things. When you walk into Green Thumb and Ashley's shop, wow, how cool. Fitzharris. I mean, I love Shields. But oh my gosh, I can go into Fitzharris and get like a whole different experience.
Right.
The Endurance Shop. They are amazing there and take such good care of my kids every time that we start cross-country season.
Yeah.
Bella Vita Salt Caves. What Christine has done in there is it's amazing. And, you think about all these individual business owners like yourself and the creativity that they bring and what they've done in their stores and their spaces. It just makes me step back and think, oh my God. Especially as being a business owner as well, or a past business owner, I think, wow, I don't have 1 ounce of the creativity that these folks do. I think back about all the businesses my husband and I have owned, and I think, wow, if I could redo all that again, because you learn so much from the people around you.
Yeah.
And what the people have done, the businesses have done downtown, is just extraordinary. And being able to soak all that in, the special feeling at Oblivion, the special feeling at Jules Bistro, everybody. It's really extraordinary. And my husband and I have always been in the restaurant business. My husband's a chef. So I really appreciate the food scene downtown.
Absolutely.
And what everybody does and how hard it is. Everybody come downtown and eat, as well as every place else. But I mean, it's really, there's so much that you can experience.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. With having a husband who is a chef, does it mean that you have lots of macaroni cheese, etc. at home because he's tired of cooking? Or does it mean that you get lots of really, really fun curated meals because you have a husband for a chef?
Yeah.
Or a chef? No, a chef for a husband.
A husband chef isn't around a lot.
Yeah.
The meals, the holidays, the whatever he caters to. So we don't see him very much. The days that he does off, Sunday is the day where he will stand at the grill with a beer all day long if he could, or we'll smoke whatever it is, smoke ribs and steaks and seafood and do all those big things together. But we really don't get to have those family dinner times at our home. When I first went to school and I decided what I was going to do for a career, I was going to be a chef. That's what I was going to do. I originally started out in culinary school and then realized being behind the scenes wasn't really my gig. But so I can hold my own, which is kind of nice. So our kids get some pretty decent meals and not always mac and cheese.
Yeah, good.
Although they love mac and cheese.
Who doesn't? I mean, the amount of research and development dollars they put into making that box magic is high. I love my job. I'm really, really thankful for my job. But if I was going to do something different than what I'm doing in our little world here, I would love to be a chef. The idea of cooking professionally, cooking for a living, sounds really fun. And I think like all careers, like when you're on the outside of it and you don't have to experience maybe the slog of that particular profession.
Right.
It just looks really, really fun. And I know restaurants are hard, but working at a fun restaurant would be really, really cool.
They're artists in and of themselves.
100%.
It's just they're not maybe working with clay or with paint or, it's with food.
Yeah.
And what you can create and do with food is really quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
And then how it brings us together in so many different ways. Food is a powerful thing.
Everybody eats, right? Like it's a thing that unites literally the entire world. Everyone needs to do this. And so then how does your little section of the world, how does your community, how does your family kind of express itself inside of their food is really, really fun. And so I think that's one of the things that I love about it. And you can learn a lot about people by how they think about food and approach food. And one of my favorite things is if I go to a restaurant, there are a handful of ingredients that I know well. Maybe, have I said this on the podcast before? Brussels sprouts and mussels are I know both of those ingredients really, really well. And so if I go to a restaurant and they have a Brussels sprout or mussels on the menu, I am inclined to order them because I know, I really know that ingredient. And so because I know what it could or should taste like, I get to learn so much about you as a chef with how you approach this. And so
how do you like your Brussels sprouts? Are you like a simple steamed, or do you like the crispy, roasted,
that Maillard reaction?
Maybe with some balsamic 100%, on it.
Yeah. A steamed Brussels sprout isn't food. That's kind of, maybe it's a strong opinion, but it's a steamed Brussels sprout is not my deal. But like a roasted, in the oven. Well, I mean, even at home, my favorite way is just in the broiler. And the crispier, the better. There's
and you can get a little caramelization in there. It's always so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so mussels, raw or steamed, or how do you have yours?
Aren't mussels always steamed? Mussels are always cooked, I think, right? There isn't anybody that eats mussels raw.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I live down in Florida. Weird things happened.
Sure, I suppose. I think one of my favorite ways to eat mussels is.
I'm thinking more oysters, but mussels.
Is in kind of a more traditionally Italian leaning with garlic and white wine and butter. A really, really bright citrus, like a lemon. That's probably my favorite way to enjoy a mussel. Little, a fine, elegant pasta with that, something like that. So,
Have
but
you tried the boil downtown yet?
I have not been yet. I have not been, but I have, I've wanted to go for, however long it's been open, but I just haven't had a chance yet.
Pretty fabulous
Yeah,
experience.
that's it. I think like often when I'm eating downtown, it's like, hey, we're going for lunch or something like that. And it has felt like I need to like go with some friends and like get a babysitter kind of thing. So we just haven't made
It's
that
fun,
happen
and
yet.
they're bringing in everything like fresh,
Yeah.
which it's hard to get fresh seafood
Right.
here. And I'm really surprised that this area still doesn't. God, maybe this is a new business idea. Have a fish market. We don't have a fish market.
Yeah.
Where do you? I mean, you can go to Byerly's. They have nice selection. You can go to Coburn's. They have nice selection, but a lot of that comes in frozen. Having it
Almost all of it, I think, is coming in frozen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to really go to just a fish market,
Yeah.
where you're picking up some really good fresh stuff that's being flown in daily,
Would be great.
and it would be awesome.
Be wonderful. Well, sweet. Julie, I am so thankful that you have joined us on the podcast. It's fun to talk to people who care about our and not just care about our community, but who have put their feet to work as their mouths are talking about how they appreciate our community, but their actions are doing that too. So I'm really, really thankful for you and your work at the chamber and in downtown. So I really, really appreciate that. In our podcast, we kind of end the podcast with a little segment
Oh yes.
called our unpaid ad. Is there a person or a group or organization, something that you think deserves a little plug today?
Boy, that's a really, really hard one.
Okay.
Because I have access to and work with so many great businesses. And, we have 58 nonprofits that are members of
Yeah,
the chamber,
it's
all
incredible.
doing incredible work. I get to work with so many agencies that are really out there making a difference. So when you kind of prefaced when we met earlier about that's what we're going to talk about, that's a really difficult one for me just to put my finger on and say, because I get to experience so many incredible things that just that one it's really tough. But you know what? Okay, I'm going to give a shout out to Cassie with the Children's Museum.
All right, Cassie Miles.
Yeah. Having kids here, there's a lot to do. But for kids, you could take them to Airmax. We could hang out at the YMCA. You can go to the Stearns History Museum.
Yeah.
But I don't know, as a parent and raising kids here, it's a great place to raise kids. That's why my husband and I never left St. Cloud.
Yeah.
But you kind of run out of things to do with them.
Sure.
And a children's museum is like the thing.
Yeah.
And I wish my kids were a little bit younger now, so that's something that we could take advantage of. It was such a grand idea and something people have been talking about for a really long time.
Yeah.
To see it come to the point that it is right now is extraordinary. What Cassie is doing and her board is doing, and the people that are passionate about this museum project, the support that we're getting from area legislators and the money that's coming out of the state. I mean, just so many people pulling together for a really extraordinary project that we need, that families need, great things for our kids. I've not seen something move this rapidly, other than maybe the Ledge in Wade Park. That is a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
But usually you come up with ideas and they get shelved and
Yeah.
it takes years and you never see anything happen. We're seeing cool things happen.
I think it's fun that you said how rapidly it's happening. I think the idea started, 10 or 15 years ago. And, I think for those people that were probably involved early in that, on that board, it maybe didn't feel fast.
Right.
But in the last 2 years, it seems like it's really picked up steam.
Yeah,
And
certainly is.
it'll be fun to see even how that, something like that kind of continues to transform our downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with that, other things will come.
That's right.
Good projects like that
Yep.
bring other things.
Yeah.
And what those things are right now, I don't know, but it definitely has the ability to spur some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, sweet. My unpaid ad for the day, kind of in lines with maybe the Children's Museum, something fun for kids. I read the Harry Potter series in adulthood for the first time, and I'm rereading it right now.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just lovely. The character development is really, really fun, and so you should go and check out. This is hot take, but Harry Potter books are pretty good, and they sold, I think, at least a couple of copies.
Have you seen the movies then yet?
That's not
Are
my
you
deal.
going to?
I don't. I think I maybe saw one or two of them, and they were not good. They were not good, and so that's
Everybody's like, "Mm."
yeah. But the books themselves were really, really special and kind of fun. So you should go read Harry Potter. Julie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
I
having me. It
appreciate
was
so
so
much
much fun.
you coming and joining. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and appreciate what you're doing and allowing us all to come, all these really cool
Yeah.
people to come forward and tell our stories
Fun.
and talk about our great community.
Cool. Well, happy to do it. Thanks for coming and being a part of it.
Thank you.